For today's project, you will need some paper. I'm using this 110-pound mixed media sketchbook, but use whatever you have. And you'll need 2 or 3 markers, or really anything to add some color. I'm going to be using Posca markers, and I would recommend 1 or 2 light colors, and you can grab a darker shade for accents. And then the only other thing that we're going to need is a black pen, and I really like the Micron Fine liners, and I'm going with the 005 because I like the teeny tiny tip. Okay, let the scribbling begin. Grab one of your light colors. To get each flower started, I really am just quickly getting some color onto the paper. Scratchy, scribbly blobs. And at this point, they don't even look like petals, and that's perfectly fine. I'm adding a few more now, using my other light color. And now let's grab that accent color and just give each base a little scribble, just a little something to tie the petals together. All right, now I'm going to be moving on to the fine liner. And what I'm doing here is really just making my way around the petals. I'm sort of using them as a guide, but I'm not worried about precision whatsoever. Think of it as corralling the scribbles, creating a little fence to keep the color inside. And notice how I'm letting some of my petals overlap. And I think that just adds to the messy, chaotic charm. And I'm sticking with very boxy, almost rectangular shapes. I will, however, be posting additional videos adding on to what we're doing here. So I'll have some more fun shapes and variations coming your way soon. And working my way around the page, you can start to see why the light colors were necessary. These black lines will be doing some heavy lifting. They're responsible for adding the majority of the interest and the detail. And that's not easy to do when your colors underneath are too dark. So contrast is very important. Oh, and on this one, it looks like I've smudged my marker, but I'm just going to rope it in. Now that the colors have been contained, I'm just going to add some stems. And this bundle is going to have long, thin stems. And some overlap is definitely good, but I don't want them to be too close together because we will be adding more lines. And I think if I had all the stems in one little cluster, things would get a little bit too messy down there. So for each stem, I like to add anywhere between like 2 to 5 lines. And don't worry about making the lines all perfectly parallel. That's not what the Scribble flowers are about. So just leave your hand loose and don't spend too much time on any one section. Simply enjoy the process. And as the lines overlap and intersect, you'll notice that it actually kind of creates the illusion of twisted stems in some areas. And now we're heading into the best part, in my opinion. I'm going to show you a handful of examples that are going to turn these scribbles into something just really fun and unique. So number 1, I'm going to call this technique multi-lines. Similar to what we did with the stems, I'm running my pen over a path multiple times, switching it up ever so slightly so we have multiple lines next to each other. They can be precise and parallel if that's your style, but I find it more appealing when they are not. Number 2, I'm going to call fill in the black. So I'm filling in small sections of the flowers, darkening the lines, creating emphasis on certain areas. And I don't want to overuse this method because if almost everything is darkened, then I won't get that pop that I want. So have fun with it, but use it sparingly. And moving on to number 3, lines or hatching. So a row of lines can create some interest, and it's just something sort of unexpected and not overly intrusive to the simplicity of these flowers. So try working on varying the lengths and the placement. Some lines can intersect or even stick out beyond the boundaries of the petals. Number 4, dots or stippling. I'm a very big fan of stippling, but with these whimsical sketches, I tend to use the dots more as a design element than I do for shading. And let's play around with different sizes too. So I'm going to go from small to large, working from the thinnest portion of the petal to the widest. And again, I want to point out why that light color was needed. All of these doodles would be lost if we'd used a darker color. Number 5, zigzags. Another one that I do use sparingly, but I really do like the look. It's kind of like a sewing stitch. And do you see how it looks like the petal is torn? And moving on to number 6, cross-hatching. For some reason, cross-hatching always makes me think of something being worn out and tattered. Like I'd expect to see some cross-hatching on the knees of an old pair of jeans. Now, if you're familiar with my channel, then you know that I love providing simple ways to customize your art and really make it your own. So I hope you'll play around with these 6 ideas that we covered. And at the end of the video, I'll be sharing some variations of this project, including some other color combos. So now I'm just adding a couple final details to the grass and the stems. Oh, and these little guys up here, I think they're called stamens, is that right? I think this is a stamen. Okay, and now I'm just going to go back to the markers one more time. I like to use the same colors to throw in some dots. There's just something about colorful dots that screams whimsical. And if we were using watercolor rather than markers, this would be the perfect time to add splatters. Okay, now let's quickly do one more scribble drawing, but we're going to be doing this one somewhat in reverse. So this time, I'm starting with the petals, overlapping, going over the same path multiple times, and I'm moving as fast as I can. I'm holding my pen loosely, and I'm not overthinking anything. And honestly, even if this looks like a total mess to you, which it kind of is, I would still highly encourage you to try it. There's something so relaxing and freeing about embracing the chaos. And once we get those lines in place, we're just going to come in with a little bit of color. And once again, scribbling, just adding marks and pops of color here and there. All right, now we're going to come in and add those details. So remember the 6 simple things that we added last time? Multi-lines, fill in the black, hatch lines, stipple dots, zigzags, and cross hatches. Just gonna work my way around these flowers and add a little bit of everything. And this really is a great activity for those days when you don't know what to draw, but you know you want to do something creative. I know we all have those days sometimes where we just have that creative block. So give this a try and just see where the lines take you. In my upcoming videos, I can't wait to show you more ideas that I have for this scribble style of art. I'm really excited to explore the possibilities together, and not just more flowers, but also other scribbly subjects as well. All right, there we have it. And let me know in the comments if you thought of other little fun details to add, like little squiggly lines or twinkle stars. Let me know what you come up with. All right, well, thank you so much for watching.